I thought the boys fought through a lot of circumstances this week and were ready to play. But we didn't start well enough on offense. A lot of credit to them. I have a lot of love for Manhattan, Kansas, and this school, having been here, and know Coach Kleiman as a friend and former co-worker. I want to congratulate them. They got a lot better over the bye week. They used the bye week well, and they gave us their best shot. So congratulations to them.
The offense wasn't able to do a whole lot in the first half, other than the DJ Black reception. But to make a game of it in the fourth quarter, to be a score away potentially to make it a one-score game, can you take solace in the fight that your team had?
Yeah, we just can't start like that. Watching them on tape, really the way people got after them is they earned first downs and made K-State defend runs, and then get another first down and make them defend runs, and sooner or later something popped. And that happened for us in the second half. We didn't earn any first downs at the start of the game. Just quarterback guys in the wrong place here or there. The K-State making the right call against what we had on here or there, and we just sputtered in the first half, and we couldn't get any momentum going. And, in the second half we started to, and some of the runs that we expected to hit. Made a couple good adjustments for how they were playing our different formations. But going into the game, we expected them to use tempo and try to go fast and run the quarterback, which is what happened. And because of that, we wanted to try to control the ball and time of possession. And it completely went against our plan to begin with. And we left the defense in their defense. We left our defense out there too long. And we got to keep fighting despite that. But we didn't put them in a good situation.
And possibly why he put him back on the field?
Well, he got planted in the turf pretty good, which didn't make me happy. But, I was told it was a collarbone, so we were planning on moving forward without. I give him a lot of credit. It was a AC sprain. Same with Jakari. Jakari got one at the end of the first half, so I honestly left the locker room after halftime thinking Cam was going to come back in. We started with Jakari, and then Tay said he was ready and came back in. Those kids are tough.
You talked about leaving your defense out there too long. How would you evaluate your rush defense, though? Dylan Edwards had a big game for Kansas State.
Well, on both sides, I think there's fast players, Dylan Edwards being one of them. I recruited him. You just can't give them that many opportunities. At times we just squashed them. I mean, when we triggered on things and played our defense the right way, there wasn't much there. But when you give a kid like him or Avery enough chances, their speed's going to make some plays. And we needed those chances to hit some of the runs that popped in the second half. They got more of those chances because they did a better job running first downs early, and the time of possession was in their favor.
How much did it surprise you when they changed up quarterbacks in the first quarter?
Anytime you have a bye week and you can really evaluate yourself, I think you usually come out and make adjustments and do things better. It doesn't really surprise me. We did the same thing a week ago, But again, I played in that Ireland game that K-State played in, and you put a lot of effort and energy into that, and when it doesn't go well, it's kind of hard to right the ship again. I think the bye week came at the right time for them, and like I said, taking nothing away from them, I think we got their best shot, and I'm not sure we quite gave them our best shot, which is a shame, and that's on me. Well, it was either going to be Jakari or Cam coming out of the locker room, and we needed to see Jakari throw and make sure he could operate. First thing was make sure he could lift his arm to catch the snap. I got the green light on him, so we started the second half with him, and then the trainer came and told me that Tay wanted to go. So, we'll get them evaluated and see how they are for next week.
Coach, how tough was this week, just with everything that happened, and Coach Clark, and especially for your offensive line?
Yeah, that's a different conversation because I've talked a lot about that, and I don't want to make that sound like an excuse. We got beat by a good football team that's lost some close games. I think if things would have started different, the game might have been different, but I got a lot of respect for what they did, and they got better as a football team, and we need to take this one to get better as a football team.
What do you say about your team, though, not giving up and responding, especially in the second half?
Yeah, I don't think this team will ever give up. I think we could lose 3 or 4 straight. This team won't give up. We're starting to develop a bond, and I said this early on, but you got to go through some success and some hard things in order to really come together as a group. There's no doubt now that this group's been through some hard things. I think that's brought us close together. I think it drained us of some energy. It drained me of some energy, just the emotions of everything. But I think in the long run, it'll make us better. I credit to Kansas State, and I'm a Chris Klieman and Kansas State fan, but we got to learn to execute better, and that's part of being a young team. We can't get down in the red zone and false start and have delay of games, and we're starting to make adjustments and call things that weren't necessarily on the call sheet because of what they were doing. And kids were a little slow to get it. The biggest turn of events in that game was we hit the big pass to go down, and we were down 3 points, and we couldn't get a stop right there. That would have given us all the momentum in the second half to come out with the ball down 3. At times the defense smothered them. At times we just weren't quite where we were supposed to be, and they made us pay for it. We got to be able to catch punts. It's little things that we need to keep improving, and that's on us as coaches to make sure that we still have a relatively young and inexperienced team, and we're doing our best to stay ahead of the curve. But every game in the Big 12, in my opinion, is going to be like this. Pretty evenly matched teams, and if you play your best, you got a great chance to win. If you play less than your best, you're going to get beat. And we get beat by a good team today that played pretty well. Yeah, I think so. We'll definitely learn things. I don't want to speak too much about it until I watch the tape and dissect the tape. An example, though, I'm watching our offensive line, and I told them after one drive, I said, it looks like they're playing harder than you. Come on, boys. It wasn't necessarily that. They were just mixing up their fits, and our guys just haven't seen it enough to know that they ID somebody and they're going to that guy, but he disappears and the safety comes down in the box, and they need to come off the double team to the safety instead of the guy they originally ID'd. It's little things like that we'll get better at as the guys continue to see more. The one thing that disappointed me is, we practice outside in the heat every day, and defense kind of has an excuse because they played a lot in the first half. But our receivers got too tired too fast. And when they're fresh, they can run and they scare you. When they're not fresh, we didn't look good enough. So we need to be a little tougher and be able to push through that a little better. And I think that's more a mindset than anything.
You popped a few of the big runs in the second half. Overall, though, what do you feel like has been lacking in developing a consistency in between the tackles and in the run game overall?
Well, a lot of the stuff I was talking about, and then just committing to it a little bit too. Preparing for this game was unique because we had the Army game that didn't really give us anything, and then Iowa State, who's not really like us, and then North Dakota and Arizona, and they pretty much ran a carbon copy blueprint of each other's game plan. And there was a lot of formations we didn't even have a look at for how they were going to line up and what they were going to do. Again, not an excuse. It was just a challenge. The thing that stood out watching the first 4 games against Kansas State was they got creased on some runs, and it wasn't consistent. They'd make a play, and then somebody would misfit something and they'd crease it. And you had to earn first downs in order to put yourself in more of those situations to get those big runs, and that's what Arizona did better than we did. We just, especially in the first half, we didn't earn enough chances to keep committing to the run. Yeah, they're all tough. Cam's tough after what he went through. Jakari's a tough kid, and Tay's proving he's a tough kid. So, I can get better, they can get better, and we will get better. I think this team has more room for growth than most teams around the country because of how it was built and put together, and the experience that we still need. But I love the attitude in the locker room after the game. I don't think they feel like they gave K-State quite their best shot, and we all need to work to make sure that when we get on the field, we play our best, and that's the only way you can win in this league.
Thanks, everyone.